Act 2 and good evening. So Rambo's on the lam and Teasel's with his muscle wingman Shingleton, and they're viciously approaching, where the other cops are, where they left off in the chase, with great ferocity, eventually even, killing the car pretty much. So an officer leads them, past the stream from their car, and Lester had previously fallen in that stream. And Orville arrives, and we see there's some pride issues, sort of. Like, Orville's like a father to Teasel, or an adopted father, since he was young, and since his father was shot dead. They haven't talked in a while because of an argument that they had at dinner like 3 months previously. An argument over how to wear a gun belt forward or back. I guess New Age or Western. And we can tell that Orville gets to him at times, and he takes, he Teasel distinguishedly begs Orville to bring in his 6 dogs to track Rambo, to start fast and camp once it's dark. And Orville thinks it's useless in the dark, but Teasel convinces him finally in an attempt that, because, God, I'm tongue twisted today. Yes, I am tongue tied also. Anyway, so pretty much it's like Teasel wants to stay in pursuit, and if he's not in the woods still pursuing, then the state police kind of take over, or he'll be forced to stop because he's out of his jurisdiction. So, Orville can outperform the other squadsmen and Teasel and everyone, and rubs their faces in it pretty much. And Orville and Teasel and his pop used to camp together a lot, and it plays on the emotion, especially like in the case that Teasel can dish it out, but it's hard for him to take it, and Orville talks down to him a lot, and it's funny to see Orville make Teasel his bitch. But Teasel really respects and loves him anyway. This is a man, which, in the story it really delves into it that they have a big history. So they hike to the cycle and across a draw, and Teasel almost shoots Lester, mistaking him for Rambo, and the hunt begins. They bring out Rambo's clothes from the cruiser for the dogs to get a scent of. They give Shingleton a dog so he can go back and get reinforcements and supplies, and able to be able to meet them at the next rendezvous point, because the dog will be able to track up to where the other dogs are. So Rambo's in the woods, and it reminds him of his training in North Carolina, as well as Nam. And he's already, covered 5 miles since he crashed the cycle. So he runs, watching the sun set to eventual blackness around him. And his naked body is caked in blood from all the branches thick in the wood, that scratched him up. And that sucks, because there's so many parts of my body that I don't want to get hit, like nicked on thorns and shit while I'm running away, naked at that. So his feet are bare, his bare feet are severely gashed, and he follows the stream, sweat, burning his cut body, looking for a still, where he might be able to find things he could use for survival, people, clothes, food, etc. So he's really cautious not to stop to wash or waste time, using his common sense, knowing that the dogs are going to find him probably anyway, because he's bleeding a lot. Well, in theory, in chance, really. So, anyway. He starts calling out into the dark and trying to find if anyone's around. You know, maybe he could jack some boots, you know, Mr. McLean style. Anyway, he like screams out interestingly, you know, just so people will want to see who it is, using Vietnamese, French, Southern, and Western accents, even long rants of vile obscenities when, you know, eventually all else fails. So he comes across an old man and a boy who operate a still nearby, and they almost kill him, but like Rambo kind of explains himself, because they are going to kill him by that point. But he gives them every reason not to. You know, that it wouldn't end well for them by killing him. And, you know, it would get them just caught up in his mess. So, he tells them he's already killed someone and he's on the run. And he agrees if they help him that he will tread backward and lure the police away from their operation. They order him to drop the straight razor and the handgun, and the old man that old man then orders the boy to go fetch some supplies for Rambo. Then Rambo and the old man drink highly potent corn mash while they chat and wait for the boy's return. Sorry. And the corn mash helps Rambo's circulation, helps him with the pain. It's like a 200 proof, really thick malt corn mash. And there's a funny part where the old man asks if he's been cussing at them out there in the woods, calling them cocksuckers and stuff like that. And before that, the boy had asked him why his doodanglions were hanging forth. So the corn mash keeps his innards warm. Gives him a little bit of warmth. The boy comes back. He uses kerosene to cover the smell in the clothes. They give him so that the dog's tracking, won't track the still. So morning comes and Teasel's, he awakes at the camp and goes over to an already awoken Orville, who tells him, he sleeps less because he has less time left. And they share a deep moment on why Teasel's wife Anna had left. He wanted a child and she didn't, and he pushed her into leaving. So Orville tells how he wishes he would have had kids of his own, but him and his wife weren't able to. And Teasel, kind of in jealousy, takes offense. But we can see that Teasel feels alive for the first time in a long time. His mind wanders back to sleeping in foxholes in Korea, camping with Orville, and the time of his enlistment. And they talk about, the chase and why Teasel can't give up. And the three subjects tie together nicely, and it really tugs on the heartstrings. So Shingleton and the dog get back with the food supplies and other guys, and they wake up the other sleeping officers, eat breakfast, mow over the plan. Mitch makes his first entrance in the scene, and I can't help but think of a young David Caruso handing out sandwiches, ham and egg sandwiches. They inform Teasel that the state police are pissed at him from continuing the chase, and this makes him kind of even more proud. The state police join one of their wingmen, Lang. So a state police guy, Porters, show up overhead by helicopter, and a group of police with Teasel in tow gear up and roll out for the hunt. So now a clothed Rambo with the razor and empty gun, and now a rifle and a hunting knife, I believe. Anyway, he races through the woods, occasionally flashing back to them. We can hear the state chopper and someone on loudspeaker calling to him in the distance, and it reminds him of running from gunships in war times. It's been about 12 hours since he left the still, like the duo, and he puts leaves in his shoes to help him to slip less and avoid too much blistering, because he has no socks. No socks for Rambo. He's wearing dress pants that are too tight and shoes that are too big, and a white cotton shirt and red plaid sweater kind of thing, kind of get up. So Rambo, reminisces about the old man giving him food and drinking with him and handing over a handkerchief full of extra cartridges for the rifle, and it's pretty funny. The old man tells Rambo to send him money for the rifle and to let him know he's okay once he's free. So he knows that it will take a couple of months of hiking through the wild to get to Mexico. And after he had left the old man, he slept in a tree for a while and woke early to finish off the food that the old man had given him. So the copter is getting closer to his position, and he knows it. He evades it by diving under a fallen tree, took down by lightning, cutting open his back a bit while he does it, and he observes the man in the cockpit, and they're acting stupidly, shooting into blind areas of the brush in an attempt to scare anyone, including him, out of the woods. So Rambo sits there, rifle aimed, trying to decide if he's going to shoot the men in the cockpit or the gas tank on the chopper. There's an incident with a deer who's mistaken for Rambo and shot, and the chopper goes off and Rambo makes a run for it. It circles back eventually, and Rambo throws up because he knows what's coming next, and he hides near a boulder, hearing the dogs in the distance, then bolts. Sorry. Sorry about that. He gets sick a lot in this book. There's a lot of people throwing up, but it really plays on the nerves. He's so freaked out, and at points scared, and at points so in the moment, and the adrenaline's going, and it causes him to get sick. And it's it's pretty intense, and so Rambo's gearing up pretty much to defend himself now, and this is where we kind of get the good old rat-a-tat-ka-boom-boom Rambo.